Hi guys, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to have an unusual combination for a winter, we'll say a winter-ish birthday card. So we're going to be using the inked and tiled stamp set along with the discontinuing, or basically it's just not carrying over because it was a kind of a specialty paper. They did donate money from this paper sale to support an organization, and I cannot remember which one it was in the United States, but it's a great paper. It's called A Walk in the Forest. So if you want this, you want to get it sooner than later. It is not sold out as of this video, which is November 26th, I believe today is. This is a Sunday. So I'm going to show you, this is a card for all of your friends that maybe have a winter birthday and by then you've run out of ideas, or you forgot, or you just give them a regular birthday card, like myself, January baby here. So I thought this would be a really fun way to make a birthday card. Uses a very wintry scene. Have a little bit of Wink of Stella, you can see there on the paper. It's a really, really, really easy card to make. Actually got this idea, and you can even see my paper is a little bit crooked, so we're going to try to not make this one crooked. But I got this idea from Patty Bennett. She actually did a whole bunch of cards. She has a lot of great card layout ideas, but she did it with the Meandering Meadows paper, which I just ordered, so be using that soon. That's in the online exclusive section. And the inked and tiled stamp set is actually, this is part of a bundle. This is in the large annual catalog, so this is still available. So what I did is I used this little lined image here to kind of make, like, if it was, you know, like layers of snow, and kind of just add a little something at the top. You can make it as much or as little. I use this little flower, as you can see here, for my little snowflake. And this paper is nice because it already has some snowflakes going through. So the key is you want to use 3 pieces. So this actually uses a 6x6 piece. So this is another part of the paper you could use. This is the one that I already did. You can see here. So we'll use this one instead. This one doesn't have any balmy blue in it, but it still works, I think, with the balmy blue color. The other side is really nice, just very neutral trees. This one is stripes. This probably isn't a side I would use, so I really do like the bears better. But just as a quick note, I want to show you just a couple other things. So if you are also maybe trying to make some last minute Christmas cards, these would be great if you just did this with a large sentiment. We do have some really nice large sentiments for Christmas. So this one I actually used in another card that I'll be sharing. I'm making the videos today, so it'll post later this week. This one will be great. I think I'm going to make a whole bunch of Christmas cards out of this one. And we actually have a I don't know if it's necessarily a nursing home or a retirement home or a skilled nursing facility across from school. And last year I made a whole bunch of the paper star wreaths, if you guys remember those. I'm not sure if you do or don't, but I will attempt to link the video onto the description below here. But I'm going to make a bunch of them again this year. I want to find out how many residents are there, and I made one for each of them so they would have a nice decoration. But these would make great easy Christmas cards. So 12 by 12, you could just cut it into pieces of 4, and then you could cut 5 1/4, and then with the remnant scraps you could even make like a long strip of paper. This one would be great as well. I only have 1 piece of this left because I use this for the other card, which I'll be showing you. This would also be great. You could do either a cherry cobbler or a real red. Would be really pretty against that. Probably this side is equally pretty, but I really like the pine bows better. And then finally the trees. So the trees have just a very generic stripe. I kind of like the trees better, but if you need to make a bunch of Christmas cards, you could certainly use the rest of this to create those. So let's get back to where we were. I'm going to move all these out of the way, and I have some strips left, so I'll definitely make these into some Christmas cards. So we're going to use the piece that does not have any balmy on it. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So this is a fairly simple card. This and maybe that. All right, so this piece of DSP is 6x6, so we're going to need to trim this down, and we're going to trim it down to 5 1/4, and then we're just going to cut the strips into 2 inches. So we really only have this little piece left, which you could probably use for something. So we're going to cut this at 4, and then 2. Okay, so this is, again, you just want to make sure that they're going to line up to make the scene. So 5 1/4 by 2, 2 and 2. And then let's see if this one is already, it's a little bit shy, so we're going to cut a new piece. See, this one actually is a little too short too. So we're going to do it this way, just in the sake of not making you wait. I'm going to trim this to 5 1/4 and then by 2 inches. And this will be our 4th panel. And then I have a piece of shaded spruce. Okay, this is already scored in half at 4 1/4. Yes, okay, I just wanted to make sure. So it's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. It's scored at 4 1/4, and then we're going to score this at 2 1/8. So this is 2 1/2, 2 1/4, and if you split that, you get 2 1/8. So we're going to just score that at 2 1/8. If you've never used our trimmer, the light blade is scoring, the dark blade is the cutting. So we have our panel card, and that's pretty much it. The only other thing we're going to do is we're going to get out our balmy blue, and I've just re-inked this, so I just want to take a moment and get my spoon and just press some of the ink to the side so it's not too much. Here we go. And I just use the same spoon over and over again. And actually, if you really want to get your spoon clean, if you're going to do a lighter color, all you do is just spray a little bit of the Stampin' Spritz. And it's pretty much like new. So I use the same spoon over and over and over. You guys know I like to recycle. So I'm going to grab 2 blocks. So we need a little block for our flower, which is our snowflake. We need a longer block for this little lined piece. And I'm going to do Hello Friend for this one. So happy birthday would be another one. Thank you. Just a note, kind of whatever you want to hit at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and grab our white piece, and I'm going to just put some snow-ish stuff. I didn't even ink more than once, just one time really. And a little bit in the middle. That looks good. I'm going to take my snowflake and I'm going to just pop a couple snows, and then finally my sentiment. And I'm going to attempt at getting this straight-ish. Oh, pretty good for a change. All right, now one other thing that I've tried to do this year, and I know that sometimes being crafters who want all of the things, because that's kind of just how we are, you know, we see something new and we like it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there comes a point where you can only use so much stuff. So I have really put a ban on myself buying, last year it was Designer Series paper, so I've only been buying the ones that I actually really, really like. This year I've put, or this catalog I should say, I've put a ban on embellishments and ribbon because I have so much ribbon, so many embellishments. I'm just kind of lining these up so they're pretty straight. So what I did is I've been kind of using some of the stuff I had. So if any of you had these came out some time ago, and if not, I'm sure you can find something else to use, but these were packs of sequins, and they had all different stuff. There's glitter, there's gold, there's little pearls, but they were like pinkish, greenish, and blue. So I pulled out the blue, and these are what I've been using to add my sequins to this. So you can see I have all kinds of little cute baubles everywhere. So what we're going to do first is we're going to glue down our layers, and I'm going to attempt to do this straight this time. So while we're putting this on, I'll just give you a little catch up with what we've been doing lately. We just celebrated Thanksgiving. It was definitely much smaller this year than it has been in the past. Just my in-laws, my dad was traveling, so he did not join us. I unfortunately had the flu a couple weeks ago, so luckily I was feeling well enough to be able to still do Thanksgiving, because I do love Thanksgiving. So we had a great time. And then the day after Thanksgiving, we put up our Christmas tree and some of our Christmas decorations in the house. So we did that. That continued to Saturday because we have so much stuff that we put up. We do actually 2 trees. Christian has his own tree, and then we do kind of more like a family tree with the old family ornaments and whatnot. So last evening, which was Saturday, we went and got our Christmas tree from a new place where we've never been before. It was really quite cute. It's in still in Harford County, but it's in Darlington, which is just a little bit north of us. Now I'm going to just take some glue, and I'm going to be really, really not generous. I'm going to be a little bit chintzy with my glue. And the reason being is sometimes I feel like I put too much glue and then things can't dry, mainly because there's too much glue for them to dry to. So I'm trying to put very tiny dots of glue. Okay, so I have that. So then I'm going to go ahead and take my sequins. And what I usually do is I just kind of pick a bunch of them and put them in the lid. So it's a little bit easier to see. And then I'm going to grab, where is it? My jewel picker. And I know that lately I've heard talk of people using something called a crystal katana. And I really want to get one. This is a little bit bigger. I'm going to put a smaller one in the snowflake. But I heard that you can pick things up and put it down, and it's super, super, super easy to use. And I'm not really quite sure why the picking up and putting down are so much easier, but I'm going to be looking into that. So I'm pretty sure I can probably get it from Amazon. So once I do, I'll let you guys know what I think of it. And I'm kind of trying to just put different types of sequins onto all these different spots that I've put on here, just to make it look a little bit different. But this mix, if you're fortunate enough to still have this, it definitely has a very wide, this is a pearl. It has a really wide variety of stuff in it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has glitter. Where's my glue? There's gold, there's silver, which I kind of like. It's a really nice assortment. If you don't have this, I'm sorry, because it's discontinued, but I'm sure there's probably some other sort of a sequin assortment. I know that's one thing that Stampin' Up! Does usually have quite a lot of sequin assortments. Or you could probably find something in your stash and use it. That way you can get something new. I want to put one more up here, and then we'll go in with our, what else do we have here? We'll go in with our Wink of Stella. I want to show you a little tip too. Actually, I told my stamp club about this, that it's a cool idea. So I'm just going to dump those. And then, I mean, geez, you could make cards forever, but these are really great also for making shaker cards. So if you have to make some shaker cards, and geez, Christmas, if that's not the time to make shaker cards, what is? Okay, so one thing I wanted to tell you is we all kind of end up with these Wink of Stellas. And I've told you before, they're really, really great to paint with. But if maybe your Wink of Stella is super dried out and you can't necessarily get it to produce ink any longer, you can still use it for painting. But when we get a new Wink of Stella brush, let's see, I'm going to show you one, a little bit different one here. But if you get a new brush, you know how you have to shake it, and you kind of have to do that big squirt of stuff that comes out. I want to show you what I mean. Well, of course, none of them are going to squirt right now. Let's see. I know I have one of them that's pretty new. Let's see if I can. Well, anyway, I'm going to have to find one that I know is brand new to be able to do. Oh, here it is, because they have these clear lids now. That's how you can tell. So I'm going to need to start putting like a black mark on it. But if you get these Wink of Stella brushes, so here it comes down, and you get like a glob, you know, because you're trying to press the Wink of Stella down. Here is a super great tip for you. Pick up your old dried brushes, and what you do is you kind of sit them in there and you roll them, and they soak up the shimmer. So this is a great tip if you're trying to pick some up to be able to kind of redo your brush. So then what I'll do is just put the cap on. That's probably a newer one. And I'll just lay it in. Most of these I've already done this with, so they are looking pretty glittery if you notice that. Let's see, I have 2 over here. But if you were kind of running, this one's always empty because this is one of the weird ones where the cap got stuck. Don't ask me why. But if you just pick it up, and once I go through this last one, I'll show you exactly what it is that I mean. And then you can go in here and kind of just add this to your trees. Now, at this point, obviously you can't squeeze these any longer because there's not really anything in there. I've also heard that you can add a little bit of alcohol to the barrel, and that will kind of refresh whatever else might be left in there. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll do this before I even get to that point. And then you can kind of save from throwing your brushes away. But just another really great point, if you've never seen any of my videos before, these brush tips are really, really nice for doing watercolors. So say if you wanted to have a different type of a brush for all of your watercolors, if you have a lot of extra kind of dead Wink of Stella brushes, the brush tip is really, really great for watercoloring because they have such nice tips to them. And even if they're used, they have really, really nice points. They're really great for watercoloring. So that's why I still have so many of these that probably are past their prime. But what I'll do is I'll just like start out one of my brushes. This is definitely that one. And then I'll just suck up some of the Wink of Stella. The other thing you can do too is you can even dip these in just a teeny little bit of water. And if there's any residual Wink of Stella on there, it will definitely spread out. So put just a little bit over here. And they're also really nice too for blending your ink when it's wet. So there you go. So hopefully you've learned a little bit today about maybe how to get a little bit more out of your Wink of Stella pen. So this does stand up. And obviously I did not, and I should have done this before I put the DSP on, but give this just a little fold, and I don't want to knock off any of my sequins that I've attached, but it does stand up super nicely. So that's one of the coolest parts. But you can also see the scene, and then when it's closed you can see it. Now she did another card, so you have your whole scene there, where she actually put, and I think I might try this one, instead of putting the white panel here, you put it here, so when your card is closed you just see the full scene, which would be really cute. So these are really, really simple. Again, these are just a 6 by 5 1/4 piece, and then you just cut it by 2, and then this piece here is 2. So this one definitely lined up a little better. I must have been gluing this one without my glasses and maybe in the dark. I'm not really sure, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was very quick way to use a lot of your supplies. You probably already have on hand some stuff that maybe you can get rid of so you can make room for some new goodies if you're in the mood. Thank you so much for watching me today. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. All you have to do is just click the subscribe button, and while you're there, make sure you hit the bell, turn on notifications every time I make a new video. If you'd like to get any of the supplies that, if they're still available in these cards, you can go to my online store, which will be linked below. Again, this was the Walk in the Forest Designer Series paper. This is in the 2023 Winter Holiday Catalog, and it will be available while supplies last. I believe it is through January the 3rd. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.